What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing round 19. It's Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn at Launceston down in Tassie. We're going to with pretty much 7 players. So this is going to be a fun preview. This is going to be a fun week of footy, I think. Just a real excitement week. Nah, in all seriousness, it's obviously been one of those things where we've been handed the injury blow once again. The card has been dealt, and we've got the Joker. So any black cat that's been run over at Alberton this year, this past month, week, whatever, it's just eventuating into one of those years. And I tell you what, the makeshift side that we're going to have this weekend is going to have its hands full with a lot of players from the Hawks, but you know what? It's one of those things where you can actually. It's going to be a nice week to be a Port fan because no one's expecting to win, and we're just going to go down there and hopefully, if we give it a red hot crack, I think it'll be a lot more respectable and a lot more giving. So we'll see how the fans react, see how you guys think. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this week's game, but. Yeah, it's one that I have not really enjoyed looking forward to, especially the trip to Tassie. Even when we put this in the calendar, I'm going to be honest with you, even when I put this in the calendar, I was like, probably going to lose this one, no matter what position we're in. So, don't like playing in Tassie, don't like playing Hawthorn, and yeah, it's going to be a fun week. So, let's get straight into it. Let's preview round 19. Hey, mate, you available to play this week? No? Injury as well. Hamstring. Oh, that sucks to hear. I'm sorry. Um, Look, if you can finish a quarter even, that'll be great. No. Okay. Well, looks like we're going to have to be choosing from the bottom of the barrel this week with injuries galore. In all seriousness, though, a great opportunity for Ken to give some games to players that probably wouldn't get an opportunity with our strongest side, and I'm talking about mainly predominantly the kids. Joe Berry can get a run. Maybe a Josh Lai can get a run this week. Players that have been dominating the sample. I know Dylan Williams had a hell of a performance, and I wasn't even familiar with his territory up forward, but apparently he can kick goals. So there's another opportunity, another option, especially with the Rioli going out. I think that definitely is a walk-up start for Dylan Williams. So yeah, plenty of opportunity for the Port crew this week to get the job done. In the AFL side, and I'm not talking about getting the win. I'm just talking about, having the opportunity to play footy. It's going to be cold. It's going to be a bit wet in Tassie, so having that chance to dominate at AFL level whilst you've been putting in the good work in Sample, I think is a strong chance. So, and I think we're still going to be walking wounded. Lear doesn't look great. Ollie Wines was running laps at open training. Connor Rosie's a fitness test, and by the time this goes out, he could probably be announced as not playing. So it's a very intriguing few days and selection for Port Adelaide, and that's predominantly their talking point. Come out of last week against West Coast where you just had to win. It's a scrappy affair. You're not happy, and you come out of it with no confidence, but you just enjoy the win. We dominated them from the second half in particular, but just a territory battle, and I think that's going to be crucial this week. If we can have good territory against the Hawks and put their defence under pressure, I have a feeling that we could give them a good run for their money. I'm not expecting to win at all. In fact, I've tipped the Hawks. I don't see us getting a win. It's hard to have confidence in that aspect when your team has no players. You're missing Radicalia, you're missing Dante Vicentini, you're missing Jason Horn-Francis for the year. All these players that have been injured. It's basically going to be Zach Butters, Mitch Georgiades, and whatever you can find. Willie Rioli's obviously out as well this week due to poor form, fitness, and a foot issue, which all culminates into just not having a good game last week, in my honest opinion. But he's still kicking goals even though he was unfit, which is very funny to me. It's a hard battle. It's a tough battle that we're going to come up against this week. The Hawks will definitely want to kill. I think that's the big thing here. Is they're going to want to come out and kill. They've just come out of a big loss to Fremantle at home. Fremantle playing away at Freo at Optus Stadium, and their season is borderline at the moment, and they would be licking their lips to see an undermanned, undergunned forward line, undergunned Port Adelaide side in general. And I think, with this type of game, yeah, you're going to have to expect the pressure, expect a hard fought Hawthorn side. And hey, we've had the Kennett curse. We could have the Ken curse on them and somehow pull off a victory. And it's not out of the realms. Upsets have happened before. Young guns can star. I think Joe Berry should get a good job this week and play. For us. I think the last 5 or 6 games, you're going to get big games against Freo. You got games against in the showdown. You've got the Cats. You've got all these games that you can really blood the gun young kids, especially with a Rioli out, a Horn Francis out, and these types of players. So I think that's the mentality you should be taking, especially with Ken's last 6 games. Really eye off a couple of games that you really want to win. Maybe the showdown, maybe Gold Coast, the last game of the year, and Ken's farewell. Maybe you eye off that and you focus on what you can do to win those games. Everything else will just balance out. And yeah, season, whilst mathematically still possible, you're not going to make finals with half a side. And if you do, you're in some sort of weird reality that I can't explain. So yeah, expect a few changes this week for Port Adelaide. But, in all honesty, my honest opinion about this game is they're going to come out firing. They're going to really want to punish Port Adelaide, beat up on Port Adelaide because of past history. And it kind of sucks because the whole, I guess, the rivalry built between Hawthorn and Port Adelaide now over the last 18 months has been built on both teams being good, both teams making finals, both teams having stars and having a fiery clash. And, Butters in particular, he's going to have to run the show this week if Rosie doesn't come up. So it's an intriguing sort of atmosphere, this one, because it's sort of deflating as a Port fan in particular. I don't know how everyone else feels, but in particular as a Port fan, you go into this game, you're going, far out, I really want to beat them, but we're just not going to be able to do the job, I don't think, with the side. And we're playing in Tassie, which, if this was at the G or if this was at at the Adelaide Oval, all of a sudden you feel a bit more. Maybe if it was at the Adelaide Oval, maybe you would have a bit more confidence. It's just timing of it all, and that's why I still think the Hawks will come out, really want to punish us, get that percentage, because percentage is everything in the game. Where the season looks like for them in particular, it's up and down in terms of where they could finish. They could finish as high as 4th, they could finish as out the 8. So winning this one is a non-negotiable for them. But maybe we just spoil the party. Maybe we just go down to Tassie and go, hey, you can't win everywhere. We've got you covered. So what do you guys think? It's a real game of cat and mouse, this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing what eventuates of it. It's a terrible time slot. Normally in these time slots, and this was mentioned on the Glass Table, we haven't watched the latest episode, go check that out. I think Jared said in particular that this is the type of game Port Adelaide play in an early time slot, and it's just going to get pumped 80 points. So, yeah, intriguing, very interesting. So we'll wait and see. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new, for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. Really appreciate the support. Thank you so much for watching. We're on our way to 6,000 subscribers. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Plenty more to come from me for the rest of the year, and very exciting times. So thank you for watching once again. My name's Anthony, and as always, count the pair.